talking about how to deal with your food when the power goes out. Blackouts and rolling blackouts are imminent. So what are you going to do when the power goes out? If it's out for several days, how do you deal with your food that you have? First of all, this is not the time to be stocking up your freezer. If you live in an area like Texas, California, where you know you could be having blackouts or rolling blackouts. So how do you deal with your food if it's a blackout for several days? First of all, make sure you have bottles of water in your freezer for ice in case the power goes out. That will help keep it cold longer. We just use soda bottles, only fill them about 3/4 full or leave about this much off the top, room for expansion. Milk jugs are good.
Juice, some of the plastic
juice jugs, tea jugs, anything like that. Before anything, while you still have power, get a couple of those in your freezer. Cool air falls, so make sure they're on the top if possible, standing up, so that when they defrost, you're not going to have a big watery mess also in your freezer. I would also put it on a towel so that as it defrosts, you know how the condensation on the outside kind of leaks down a little bit? That way it doesn't drip all over your food. Next, do not open your fridge or freezer until you have a plan for what you're getting out of there. And make sure you have a list of everything you need as you get out of there.
Yeah.
Now, use your meats first. Your condiments like mayonnaise first. Those will only last about 24 hours or so. Your mayonnaise isn't going to go very long. But most of your condiments like ketchup and mustard, A1 sauce, people don't realize you don't need to refrigerate those.
No. Pickles, olives, those will last a lot longer.
Those should be fine.
Yeah.
So use your meat first, and then use your liquid dairy like milk. Your cheeses should be fine several days.
Yeah.
Your butter will be fine at room temperature several days.
Oh, yeah,
your margarine several days. Fruits and vegetables are perfectly fine. I would use your soft fruits and vegetables like your kiwi and your bananas.
Apples will last for a long time.
Yeah,
Oranges,
apples,
you don't have to really worry about
oranges,
refrigerating
peppers,
those. Yeah.
onions. Peppers would be first. Carrots are fine. Your strawberries you want to eat first.
Yeah. Berries.
Any berries, blueberries, blackberries, any of those soft fruits and vegetables you want to eat first. Your harder ones like your carrots and all those should be fine for several days, if not weeks.
You want to use your soft cheeses first over your hard cheeses and that type of thing.
Because the hard cheese will last quite a while longer.
It'll last longer.
Next, if you have a source of water, like a creek or anything, well, like a creek usually or a spring, don't forget that in the old days, they used to put their milk and all of that in a well, in a creek, and let the running water cool it down. So that is an efficient way to cool it down, the old-fashioned way if you want. Also like an ice box type situation where, let's say your freezer isn't totally full, get a cooler, put your ice blocks and then your food in your smaller cooler. You want to condense it down to a smaller size.
Compact. Everything as close together as you can get.
If you have something like a Yeti cooler, those things keep stuff cold forever. I mean, several days you can get by with one like that. If you don't and you just have a regular cooler, wrap your food in blankets or newspaper.
Wool blankets are best because it keeps the cold in.
Yep.
And if you don't have a cooler or something, be sure to use a cardboard box, something like that. You can use sheets of styrofoam, stack them, around, put the styrofoam around them.
Yep. Now, eating food. This is where you're going to have to not get persnickety, okay?
In other words, you might have to eat 6 steaks in a row. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Once you get your meats and stuff and your refrigerator stuff done, you're going to have to eat out of the canned goods. So make yourself chicken salads, tuna salads. Keep the little packets when you go to restaurants, little packets of mayonnaise and little packets of ketchup and mustard and all that, which ketchup and mustard are fine out of the fridge, but you know what I'm talking about. Usually it's like the mayonnaise or your ranch dressings. Get those little packets. Those would be really handy in a situation like this where you could make yourself a tuna salad or a chicken salad or something like that. Next, make sure you have paper plates and bowls on hand because you may not have hot water to wash dishes, but guys, you don't necessarily need hot water to wash dishes or a dishwasher.
And you know what? I think I'd like to say, you can, like if you have a paper plate or even a plate if you don't have paper, reuse it without washing it. If you have just a sandwich on there and you have breadcrumbs, reuse that. You don't need to wash it for something like that unless you have meat touching it or something like that.
Or something really saucy.
Yeah, and even like if you have a salad and you're using a fork with there's no meat that's touched it, and you just have it in your mouth, put it to one side. You can reuse that the next meal. You don't need to wash.
Yeah.
You can use your own fork over and go over again.
Everybody needs to have their own cups and forks and plates, and they can just reuse it over and over again.
You need to learn to reuse this stuff like that.
Now, complicated meals. Guys, don't do complicated meals. You're going to have easy meals, and have meals that you don't cook. Have your canned SpaghettiOs, have your canned raviolis, have your canned beef stew, which you can eat at room temperature just fine. Crackers with peanut butter. All of those easy type meals are what you're going to want to eat when you have no power.
Even just boxes of cereal, you know, you don't have to, if you run out of milk and you don't have any left,
You can just eat cereal.
you can just eat the cereal.
Yep. And if everything starts to defrost, have a picnic for the neighborhood, grill your food up and offer it to the neighbors, offer it to some elderly that you know, call up the church and see if anybody could use it. That type of thing.
You might have to eat, I was joking about 6 steaks, but you might have to eat 3 or 4 servings of meat for each meal for one day.
1 or 2 days,
Because the potatoes in the pantry will stay okay, but that meat won't. So, you know, just keep eating the meat as much as you can. You won't be vitamin deficient doing this for a few days. Nobody would die from just eating, you know, meat for a few days.
I like that idea. Oh, that's called a keto diet.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Guys, be sure to go watch this video next on how to be prepared. Visit us at livingonadime.com. We will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.